Greetings, Dr. Jeffrey Scott here, and this is my Market MRI Pro update for Thursday, July 24th, 2025, on what, at least for my portfolio, continues to be a crazy week. Our data center energy stocks, the new meme stocks. Remember we talked 10 days ago, 11 days ago, I introduced you to LEU and OKLO, among others, and I know several people took those trades. They took a big hit earlier in the week, and now they're higher than they ever were. Almost as if they're meme stocks. They don't have earnings. Some don't have sales. All because of the hope of providing clean and renewable power for the data centers that will be populating our country. So, again, email address marketmripro@gmail.com. My Google group is called Top Down Trader. Love to have you join. I'll talk about it momentarily. This is for educational purposes only. Anything I talk about should be taken in the spirit of education, not investment advice. The intent of the video is to demonstrate the tools of top-down analysis and how I apply them. Trading involves risk. You'll are solely responsible for any investment decisions you make. I may own or intend to buy or sell any stock mentioned in this report. Trading stocks and options should be considered risky and should consult with your financial advisor before making trades. And I have tools in multiple platforms, but I focus here on the Market MRI Pro tool. My Google group is called Top Down Trader. It is free. You get discounts to my software. You get invites to free educational events. You'll get videos that I may not put on YouTube. And more importantly, you get on my mailing list for when I have things to distribute or talk about. Just go to Google Groups, click all groups, type in, search for Top Down Trader, 3 separate words. Let me know how you want to contact me, and you can always quit if you don't like it. Speaking of things that we're doing, how about a live educational seminar in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, October 27th to 28th. I should have the location nailed in the next couple of days. There's 3 or 4 hotels that are all in Palm Beach Gardens on PGA, and I'm talking to each of them, trying to decide what the best option will be from a space perspective, internet speed, and cost of rooms for the attendees. If you bring your spouse, there are some great hotels on the water 3 miles away, and one that we've had meetings at before, the Marriott on Singer Island. Cost is $12.50. I'll feed you on all meals on Sunday, breakfast, lunch Sunday and Monday, dinner cruise on Stocks and Docks, the yacht, Sunday evening. 2 days packed education and software instruction, back to back with John Person's seminar. He's having one October 25th and 26th, very similar area as mine. From a location perspective, it's a separate fee, but I know a lot of you are going to come for both. For more information or reserve your spot, please contact me, Jeffrey Scott, at marketmripro@gmail.com. I announced it yesterday. I had 5 people commit in the last 24 hours. Not all of them are in the room, but I pretty much am going to limit the live to 12 people because my boat's good for up to about 16. If you figure my wife and I makes 14, Praveen is 15. I think 12 is all that I can handle. And, somebody will have their wife and want to come too. So that's the plan. Love to see you. News and earnings. We got jobless claims coming. Well, we had jobless claims today, rather, I should say. And the market was a little weaker today, and we'll look at it. On Friday, we have durable goods and durable goods minus transport. On tonight, we had earnings from a number of stocks, including Intel. And Friday should be kind of interesting listening to Centene's uh, conference. Centene is one of the numerous healthcare companies whose stocks are down 50% from earlier this year. And as a group, they took another hit. At least United took a hit today because of a federal investigation, which of course they denied in the past. It's a judgment call to hold stocks over earnings dates. It's bad judgment to not know when your stock's earnings date is scheduled. I took some heat today on Honeywell, so you have to be aware. And I looked at my position, and I wish I would have sold it now. But after hours, Intel is down 1.2%. That's kind of the big name. COUR 19.9 up. SCHL up 14.7. FIX up 11.5. Decker's up 8.8. SAM, that's the beer, plus 7%. And then VCYT up 8% because it's joined the small cap 600. Up. And the futures, as I do this at 7:40 p.m., the futures were up a bit the last time I looked. They still are. Dow up about 50, NASDAQ 20, S&P up 8, and the Russell's up 5. So Fridays have been volatile, and we'll see what we get after the news and when the market opens in 14 hours. The index that we put together in June, and boy, we had some great stocks in there, including OKLO and Bloom Energy, which had a big move today. The bad news is we're going sideways, kind of a little uptrend to the sideways motion. Every time it looks like we're breaking out, we reverse. But how upset can I be when we're holding out at a high base and really haven't broken down? So to me, the index of leaders, which we built in June to give us an early warning of the market breaking down, it's still holding. For more information, if you have the program and are having any technical issues, Praveen at coding@marketmripro.com. If you want to order it, if you have questions about it, you want to register for the meeting, reach out to me, marketmripro@gmail.com, and consider joining my top-down trader group. At the Orange County meeting, I offered everybody a rebate against software for what they paid to attend. Well, I'm not going to give $12.50 back against the software, but you can safe to say that if you come to the meeting, you'll get a sizable rebate, probably commensurate with what I gave at Orange County. The max was $400 plus the top-down trader group discount of $100. And if you've bought my products in the past, there's potentially some additional discounts you might earn. Let's go take a look at the charts. We're going to start with the one-day close. Now, the disappointing thing was yesterday, the ETFs finished at the high of the day and had great performance. Look, today the Russell was down the most, 1.38, finished at the low of the day. So one very bullish looking day, one bearish day. Bitcoin was up 0.5%, dollar was up 0.26. The Qs were up 0.21 and the spiders were up 0.03. Neither were at the top of their day. Volatility, although it was down, traded near the high of the day, and the diamonds were down 0.69. If we look at the new high, new minus new lows on the NYSE or the NASDAQ, and we look at 12 months, you could see we're still positive, although we've come down from where we were yesterday. If we want to look at the S&P 500 to see what was up and what was not, energy up, leading 0.71, tech up 0.42, and then everything else was negative. Discretionary materials, healthcare, staples, all on the bottom. It was a tougher day in the market today for sure. Something else that shows you how tough it was, if you look at the S&P 1500, the NASDAQ, and the NYSE, got 4 bars here. The top bar is the sectors. The color one shows you how you were today versus yesterday. You could see on Thursday, very few sectors were up. Industries versus yesterday, very few industries were up compared to yesterday. 28 means 28% of the stocks in the S&P 1500 were up, 29 in the NASDAQ, and 28 in the NYSE. That's a broad-based weak day. It's hard to make money on a day like that. And if I go and I look at the timing model, we're flipping around the bongo on the Russell, which has been the weakest, but we're still on a daily signal, still in a buy. And on the weekly, we're not going to change the weekly if the daily hasn't changed. That would be highly surprising. So I haven't even looked at it yet. So let's see what the weekly shows us. Come on. Lots of green. And when you look at the spider on the left, Qs on the right, we are just off all-time highs on the weekly. We are very close on the diamonds, and we're a little bit ways off on the Russell. If we look at the U.S. index ETFs today, let's just go through them one at a time. The spiders. We know the spiders were kind of flat. We can see down or up 0.03%. Beautiful uptrend. Has anything changed with that bar? No. Now here's projected seasonality based upon 10 years of data, starting to get to that area where we flatten. You've got a beautiful spread here, the 17 over the 50 over the 200. We're not even touching the 17. It's hard for me to get depressed even with a shooting star like candle here. And maybe we see what we saw here, a couple of weekdays and we run again. I think the uptrend's still intact, and my timing model says still good to be long. How about the Qs? I'm not sure I'd say anything differently. They continue to run up. They are, gosh, do we have a closing high today? Close was, all right, put my glasses on for this one. 565.01, 563. In fact, we had a closing high on the Qs today. Qs were up 0.21 when the day the market was down in general. So big cap technology hanging up well. The diamonds we know were down 0.69, at least on the daily breath sheet. And you can see here a bit of a shooting star down 0.69. Now, have these broken down? No, they're still above the 17. That's an ugly candle. It could come back. It could break down. Eventually it will. But I still see a market that's going higher. That will change, and we'll know. A break of the 17, that'll get my hair up on the back of my neck. A break of the 50, it'll get my account looking like a lot of cash, hopefully before we get there. But right now, we're still riding up that 17-day, and everybody's calling for a crash, pullback. I don't disagree. We're going to get a pullback eventually, but nothing here shows me that this market is at a position where I expect a doom and gloom. And then if I look at the Russell, this is the laggard of the bunch, nowhere close to all-time highs, kind of consolidating up here. Had a beautiful day, up 1.5% on Wednesday, and it was down 1.38 on Thursday. Net, we're still above where we were on Tuesday. So sideways move. Again, have we broken down? No. Every time we've hit the 17, we have bounced. We're still above the 17. Could it happen? Sure it could. Has it happened yet? No. If we look at the VIX, you can see the VIX gave a hammer. So the index is giving shooting stars, which could be a topping candle, and the volatility index giving a hammer, which could be a bottoming, kind of flat, up 0.13. And then the dollar, take a look at the dollar real quick. And the dollar is something that I watch closely, but it's still behaving, even though it was up 0.26. It failed this attempt here. Let's see what the dollar does. I think the dollar, if it gets up in this area, it becomes a problem for the markets. Commodities, let's try to speed it up a little bit here. Gold came down with the markets today, and gold was down 0.6 something. Silver also down 0.56. Oil flat, up 1%, but you can see the pattern's very flat. Natural gas is dead. And then if we look at the 10-year open, traded higher and closed right where it opened, was up 0.5. And then the 30-year was up only 0.02, reversing after opening, trading higher. I watch these two lines, the 5% area, and if we break above that, I get much more concerned about interest rates. And we've got a Powell meeting coming next week. The buckets, I'm just going to say neutral, no signal for the purpose of time. Let's move. The market breadth shows a little bit of an inside-ish looking bar today on the NYSE. Nothing broke. We've got a doji at all-time highs on the NASDAQ composite. Certainly all-time closing highs. I don't need to look at any other data to see that. Hard to be bearish at all-time highs. Obviously, all-time highs end and the markets pull back. But right now, we're still at all-time highs. We've had golden crosses. You could see stocks above the 20, 50, and 200 turn down on both of them today. I meant to look at volume, and I was right here. NASDAQ was up 16% and volume-wise, and the NYSE was down 6%. So NASDAQ increased volume a bit. For the most part, kind of average volume day. What we could see here on new high, new lows were both green, but the advanced decliners turned negative, and the up-down volume on the NYSE was negative, although still holding positive on the NASDAQ. No bangos, no other signals. I've said before, it's hard for me to be very doom and gloomish without seeing things like Phoenixes and Hindenburgs. Doesn't mean we can't see a normal, orderly 5 or 10% pullback. And I'm not sure that a normal, orderly 5 or 10% pullback is that horrible after the run that we've had. Pauses to refresh. One thing that you get when you have a day like Thursday where you have more losers than winners is this 13-week new high, new low came down some on all these majors here, the spiders, the NASDAQ composite, the S&P 1500, and on the Russell 2000, which takes a little bit of pressure off the markets from a extended perspective. If I look at the ratio charts to get a sense of what's working, one thing we noticed yesterday that despite the fact defensive things have been weak, that utilities started to move. Now it's kind of a mixed here. Industrials remain strong. Staples haven't moved. Discretionaries come down. Healthcare, not yet. Maybe it's starting. Tech remains strong. Real estate has pulled back after trying to bounce. Financials, not much. Communications, probably give them a neutral, have improved, have come back after the sell-off. Energy trying but not going anywhere. Materials not so much. So leadership remains our friend Mr. Technology. A little bit surprised on this on the utilities. They led today. And again, I think a lot of it is those data center energy plays, some of which are just acting wonderfully stupid, if you can call that. This is not LEU. This is OKLO. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is where it was on, is that Monday? Let's see, 24th. It was right in here when I introduced this to LEU and this one among others. And this one ran up, pulled back as LEU did, and is running again. And you have pretty significant pullbacks on this uptrend. Almost like you have a cup and a handle breakout. You failed right into a cup and another handout and broke again. Look at relative strength, look at OBV, good volume. I do have a position in OKLO. This is one of these stocks this one is working on clean energy, data center energy sources. You also have LEU in a similar, I won't say group, but a similar story and the same thing. Look at these stocks running. 81 in May, and it closed today at 240 something, but you get these brisk, hard pullbacks on the way up. Congrats to anybody who took Lou and OKLO with me, one or the other or both. And if you did, you owe me and come to my meeting in Palm Beach Gardens. You can pay for it. Um, but let's see what we see today from a stock perspective. And let's go to the top down and let's rank them by the best performing sectors. And we've got, as you could see, energy, industry, and utilities. Let's rank the industry groups. A lot of negative groups today. And let's take the top three. And these are the industry groups in the top three. Uranium, I've been playing, well, there's LEUs in this group. I've been playing the 4Us. Rental and leasing, general transport, oil, gas exploration, general utilities, oil, gas equipment, industrial, security, waste management. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then oil and gas midstream. Those are your top 10 industry groups in your three top sectors. That gave me 194 stocks tonight. And this is how I do top-down investing. Let's put in $505, and I don't want to buy anything today below the 200, considering where the indexes are, and I'm left with 62. Now with 62 stocks, I might just make them alphabetical and just start going through and see if anything looks interesting. All right, we talked about Allegiant over the weekend. That one's breaking out nicely. Baker Hughes. CCJ, Cameco, that's the big boy of the uranium. So Centerpoint looks interesting here. This was a utility, ran up, pulled back, put in my resistance lines, broke out, little flag, and we broke out again in the market. So big volume breakout, a volume bar, and a breakout bar coming out of a squeeze, relative strength and OBV turning the right direction. Earnings came out today. They don't even look that good. They did well on revenue, not so well on earnings. The stock opened lower, fake out, and then it closed up on the session. Had a great close. So Centerpoint still looks interesting from that perspective. Um, keep going. CNQ, and I'm just seeing if anything is worth talking about. CRC, we talked about over the weekend. California Resources, it's holding above the 200. CRK. So I like MLPs. They typically pay a dividend. Here's one that's pulled back to the 200. This is DT Midstream, DTM. The 200's been a good place to buy this before. And what is the dividend? It's only 2.89%. There's higher dividends. These things have steady earnings and steady revenue. They're basically charging a toll on the energy that's going through it. Bridge. And so one could certainly go through Evolve Technologies. We've looked at that a couple of times. That's a nice breakout, cheap stock. Frontline, just now we're getting shipping stocks with DHT. And so one can go through and take a look at each one and see if you find something you like. And several of them look pretty good. I called them out as we went through. Another thing might be, let's just now add another filter here. And let's add pullbacks in an uptrend. I'm going to make it even smaller number. And we don't have any. Now let's take away the above the 200. Still don't have any. All right, we got 54. What I might do here is rank them by up dots. These are my impulses. See what we got. United Rentals breaking out. This thing's going to do well if mining does well, if there's road construction, if there's infrastructure build. They got to get their equipment somewhere. And a lot of these companies have figured out economically it's a better deal to lease it than to buy it. United Rentals is a leader in this category. Big breakout. SEI, don't know them. Solaris Energy Infrastructure. You wonder if they are going up today in sympathy with another energy infrastructure play, which is Bloom Energy. And why? Because they did a deal with Oracle to supply energy to data centers. Keep going down the list. FTI was on the last list. This is an oil services stock. Big breakout here. Relative strength turning up OBV, lots of blue dots. That looks interesting. Let's see about earnings. Earnings were today. Big growth, 58% versus a PE of 15. A 19% surprise. Revenue's going higher. Doesn't pay much of a dividend, but FTI, that looks like something. Earnings are out. Energy might be coming back. ADT, I think of the home security, business security, beautiful uptrend. I bet that's an earnings day as well because of the sort of the belt hold. Big jump in earnings, giant surprise. Boy, that's the kind of thing that can fuel a rally. I might stick this on one of my watch lists. So there are a lot of interesting stocks as I go down the list here. So this is top down. It's finding the right sectors, the leading industry in those sectors, and going through a list of stocks quickly, looking for your favorite patterns to trade. Here's another MLP, Western, breaking out here. Earnings are not out. It pays an 8.5% dividend. So that's top down, but let's go and look at bottoms up. So let's just kill that, kill this, and let's go into my impulse list, which has probably 3,700 stocks in it. It will when I take off my filters, 37, 35. And now let's show you how I do top down. And my favorite scan and this is where we're going to end tonight. 500,000, $5 above the 200 MA, and you got a 2 days momentum up signal. Celsius Holdings, they had an upgrade the other day. This is one of the stocks I own. It doesn't pay much of a dividend. The upgrade talked about accelerating earnings. August 5th is when their earnings come out. Deutsche Bank has been doing well. Boy, that big gap after this run, you wonder if that's going to be an exhaustion gap. FTI made it to my bottoms up scan. Multiplex or MPLX, uptrend pullback and a breakout above the 50, and MLP that has a 7.41. I think I found the one that I'd want to buy if I don't have the MLP exposure. NXE, Next Gen Energy. I don't know this company from Adam. Ramps U.S. uranium output, while Next Gen Energy readies a low-cost project, which is better for the nuclear boom. I still don't know what it does. Might be worth some research doing a nice breakout here, a low-cost stock. SPGI, S&P Global, an industrial, or actually financial services sideways move, trying to break out. STVN, this was on it the other day. What is this guy? Stelvanto Group. Don't know what they do, but kind of a nice rounded bottom here and breaking out. Might be worth doing some research on that. Let's go up here. Earnings are out in August. No dividend per se, or not a meaningful dividend, 6 cents. Don't know what this one does. True, TransUnion, nice breakout on this financial play or industrial play. And then West Pharmaceuticals. I believe that's who this is. Yeah. Oh, this thing's been dead for a long time. Something happened today, massive breakout there. Earnings jumped 22%. Well, you could get an episodic pivot from an earnings report. So I've just named at least 10 stocks that I thought looked interesting. What is special about this scan? Well, let's go look at MPLX, and let me tell you why I like this one. I like MPLX because uptrend, pullback, breakout, relative strength is about to cross over its moving average. OBV already has, and it's these two blue dots here above the yellow line, two momentum power days in the setting of a squeeze. So I like MPLX here. I like 7% dividends. Remember, buying the option may not get you the dividend, and that might be something of interest. Now, let me just kill my scans and let me just look at what happens if I do that same scan without the 200-day. Really doesn't look different. So let me show you two additional stocks that I'll be watching tomorrow in the market. AGX, air gas and industrial, and the engineering and construction. So we know that's been a hot group. Ran up, Airgan, AGX, pulled back to the 50. And I don't know why this did not make my scan tonight, because AGX has two blue dots in a row. The RS is breaking out, the OBV is breaking out. And I'll have to ask Praveen why it didn't show up. I think AGX Airgan looks great. That might be my favorite one of the night. And then if you want to try some healthcare, ARGX, let me show you how strong the stock has been historically. All right, that's going back to 17. I watched the stock go higher and higher without anything to sell, and now they've got something to sell. They had pulled back. They're about to break the 200, coming out of a squeeze. Relative strength and OBV look good. Still technically in a downtrend. But look at what's happening on the earnings front. Earnings came out today, I bet. I haven't seen them, and they didn't make it into it, so maybe it came out after hours. 295 is projected versus a 381 loss. That's like a $7 turnaround, $6.50 turnaround. 150% growth rate. Yeah, these my bad. They came out today. It's right. No, that's a year ago. Um, Great growth rate in this company on earnings. I'm betting earnings came out. Let's look over here. Oh, nope, they delayed it to July 31st. And I don't know why they're having lawsuits, but I've learned that a lot of times it's just BS. Somebody lost some money in the stock. Um, why do I like this one? I love the earnings per share growth. Now it's making money. You're going to see revenue growing. Um, a break above the 200, I think, would be interesting. So if I put it all together, AGX is my pick. FCN, FTI look good, and MPLX as well, and ARGX are some of the ones I'll be putting on my watch list and seeing what they do tomorrow. Have a great day, and please, please, please come to my meeting. Look, I do this rarely in Florida. I do it every June in California. We get a same people turn out every time. They all give me lots of kudos. I'm not about the kudos. More importantly, it's the text I get afterwards, hearing how they did well on this trade or that trade. It is a very inclusive education program, and we'll have a lot of fun together. So think about it. MarketMRIPro@gmail.com. Have a great day.